something a little bit special for you. We have a real, live, genuine networking guru. Let me welcome to the stage Andy Lopata.
Stumble, you might fall. Thank you, Richard. I mean, that's a real confidence boost just before I try stand-up for the first time. But wow, what an intro, Rowan. Thank you very much for that. A real-life networking guru. I'm just the latest in a long line of gurus, aren't I? We've got self-help gurus. We've got fitness gurus. We've got erotic gurus. Do you know how many gurus it takes to change a light bulb? None. But they will empower the light bulb to want to change itself. But I've got to be honest with you, I have to be honest with you, I've never been comfortable with the term guru. To me it conjures up images of the Maharishi up in the mountains with a long flowing beard and long flowing robes, not a look that really suits me very well. But another term that's used often for what I do for a living is professional speaker. And that's an odd one as well. I mean, what does an amateur speaker do? And you know, how many jobs are there where you can decide not to talk and still get paid for it? I mean, how would you feel if you went to the doctor and he decided to diagnose and prescribe in mime? The question that I hate, and anyone who's heard me speak about networking will know this anyway, the question I hate the most, particularly when it's asked to me, is what do you do? What do you do? I don't know how to answer that with my job without sounding arrogant. And last week I was on the tube and this woman started chatting away to me. And after a while, inevitably she said, "What do you do?" It was 11:30 at night, I was exhausted, I could not be bothered to think up an intelligent, non-arrogant answer. And I just said, well, I'm a professional speaker, and I'm an author, I've written 3 books on networking, and I do some mentoring. And she looked at me, and I was sure she was impressed, and she eyed me up and down, and she said, "You sound like a tosser." But look, I have to be fair, I love what I do for a living. I'm very privileged, I travel the world, I speak to wonderful audiences, I get treated brilliantly, but it's not all glamour. It's not all glamour. I have a client in Dublin, I'm over in Dublin every month, and that means I fly Ryanair. Now, if anything is going to bring you down to earth, it's Ryanair. Or actually, Air Tesco, as I prefer to call them, because really they're just a supermarket in the sky, aren't they? They sell to you from second one right the way through the flight. They sell you drinks and snacks. They sell you duty free. They sell you scratch cards and lotteries. They sell you the seatbelts. They just keep selling right to the last minute. On a flight last month, I swear, as we came into land, the trolley went rolling downhill past me as we approached the terminal building. And I felt really sorry for the poor stewardess who was still hanging on, trying to swipe the last credit card as we got there. But I did buy something. You know, the prices are very reasonable. Like, you know, I turned round and I said, "I'll have a coffee, please." And she said, "That's 50p. I thought, that's fair enough. I said, "Great." She said, "Would you like a cup with that?" A couple of months ago, I had the worst flight ever. I mean, it was for me my nightmare, because my pet hate is loud iPods. You know, not so loud that you can enjoy the music with the other person, just so that you get that and can't make it out. And I had someone on my left with a loud iPod. You're strapped in, you're stuck with them. But it wasn't just that. It was really, really bad, much worse. It was my real nightmare, because on my right-hand side, I had someone with a loud iPod as well. On my left, on my right. I was the meat in an iPod sandwich. I tried to reason with them. I turned around and I said, "Look, guys, look, if you are going to have to do that and play it that loud, could you at least play the same music at the same time so that I've got it in stereo?" It didn't seem to work. And then it got worse. Because from behind me, there was a woman who decided to ramp it up, not 1 notch, not 2, but 3. She had the loud iPod, and it was really loud. And then she did that thing that I just can never understand. She started singing along. Now that might seem like a good idea when you're listening to the instrumentation, you're listening to the singer, who, here's the clue, they're paid, they sell records because they're good. So when you hear that, you don't really hear your voice outside that mix, but when you're not in that zone, when you're outside the iPod and you just hear that voice, it doesn't sound the same. It doesn't sound tuneful. You can't hear words. All you really hear is all the way to Dublin. But then she turned it up the extra notch, because not only did she have the loud iPod, not only was she singing in this awful, awful tone, but she started eating something soft and squelchy while continuing to sing. Painful's not the word. But look, listen, I should be used to that. People are weird. We can all admit people have those little crazy tendencies, the little weird things we do that we don't realise the effect it has on others. And if you're not sure about that, you should go to my gym. Ladies, do you know what really happens behind the closed door of the men's changing room at the health club? It's not what you're thinking. At least I really hope that it's not what you're thinking. You see, you're probably imagining these bronzed Greek Adonises hanging around with everything swinging about, admiring each other's bodies, just letting it roll. Not at my gym. Not at my gym. There are guys that let it all hang out and they just hang around there chatting, but they're not extras from Fall of the Roman Empire. No, they're more like rejects from Last of the Summer Wine. I mean, you can tell that when these guys have been on holiday because they got suntan lines under their moobs. It's really, really not pleasant. But you know what? They can hang around, they can let it all swing out, they can chat. I don't mind. It's not nice to look at, but I can look elsewhere. It's what they do with hairdryers that really, really bugs me. The clue, guys, is in the name. Hair dryer. They have now put up a sign on the mirror that says, gentlemen, these hair dryers are intended for the hair on your head only. On that lovely image, I wish you sweet dreams tonight. Thank you very much.
Good up, Andy! Brilliant. What an image to end on, has to be said. So Andy, you're raising money, as I understand it, for Action for ME.
That's right.
Can you talk to us about why you've chosen that charity?
Yes, well, ME is, or fibromyalgia, or you know, it's a number of different names. As people are aware of it, but I don't think they're really aware of what it causes to people. I was diagnosed with ME when I was 16 years old, and people can't see it. They're not aware that you're in pain all the time. They're not aware you're tired all the time. Many of the people that here that know me would have had no idea that I suffered from ME, and there's no cure. Mm-hmm. So I think it's really, I want to help the charity Action for ME raise money. I want them to find research to help find that cure, but I also want to raise awareness, because when people can't see an illness, they can't see a disability, they begin not to believe it exists. Mm-hmm. And that can be very lonely for someone who's in pain, who is tired, but maybe doesn't always get the support and the understanding from the people that they need it from. So,
well, Andy, I think that's admirable. Give it up for Andy! Fabulous. Well done.